Season 6. I love it. So today, let's rewatch and review an episode that I loved as a kid and still do.
That's me, said Diesel. The world's strongest engine.
I made a custom story set based off this episode after all, and for many reasons, but a big one being for how much respect it pays to Henry.
I hope Henry's mended soon, said Percy. He moves more trucks than 3 diesels put together, agreed Thomas.
As we all know, Henry was mishandled and disrespected in the CGI series. CGI Henry is not canon. But let's watch the world's strongest engine.
They work hard to complete their jobs on time. They don't like confusion and delay.
So the episode starts off the same way as every other Season 6 episode. But like I said, I enjoy seeing the engines and their rolling stock. I do like seeing this shot of Oliver. It's always a good thing to see Oliver in the model series. Now this episode does something very unique. Henry, along with a long line of troublesome trucks, is derailed after an accident.
But the troublesome trucks delight in mischief, and their mischief causes trouble, as poor Henry found out.
But the episode doesn't show us how the accident happened. The episode also kicks off immediately showing us the aftermath. I am a big fan of this. Not only are the troublesome trucks a big focus in this episode, but Henry also gets a spotlight role, and sort of a mini redemption arc. Henry crashing due to the troublesome trucks is unfortunate, but the trucks get the best of every single engine after all. But the next scene is already painting Henry in a proper light. So the Fat Controller informs the engines that Diesel will be taking Henry's place until he returns.
There are no other engines available, so Diesel will help until Henry returns.
So fans may not like this episode simply because Diesel returns once again, as he was last seen in Season 3 where he was already brought back and sent away. Again. But I think Diesel returning really does work for Season 6. Season 6 has many episodes that you may think are just silly concepts, but then it turns those concepts into incredibly fun episodes. Thomas and the Jet Engine is a perfect example of this, or James and the Red Balloon. More on Diesel though in a bit.
The engines didn't like Diesel. He was always being rude and always showing off.
Also, it's cool this scene takes place inside of Tim's sheds. But what I love is that Percy and Thomas show love and respect for Henry. Very much deserved.
I hope Henry's mended soon, said Percy. He moves more trucks than 3 diesels put together, agreed Thomas.
But this line from Gordon really doesn't make any sense.
Trucks are no one's friends, huffed Gordon.
Trucks are no one's friends? Okay. So Diesel arrives at the docks and already is no different.
When the Fat Controller sees how good I am, he bragged to the trucks, he'll get rid of steam engines once and for all.
What I love about Diesel's character is that he is simply a symbol of railway modernization, which indeed saw the scrapping of steam engines as we all know. He also helps reinforce that the island of Sodor is sort of a safe space for steam engines. I think the Troublesome Trucks have some amazing songs in this season. Just in the last episode, they sang about Duck.
Duck should play with other ducks, 'cause he's no good at pulling trucks. Quack, 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 hold back, they giggled.
And now they have a banger song here in this episode. We really needed more episodes hyping up Henry.
Is that all you can haul? Henry's loads are longer. Is that all you can haul? Henry must be stronger.
So the trucks tease Diesel, which then leads to Diesel's brand new goal, be the world's strongest engine.
He was sure that he was stronger than Henry. I'll push you all at the same time, he said. The trucks giggled.
So Diesel puts together a line of 20 trucks, and I think it's so funny that Thomas and Percy are simply off to the side watching Diesel.
Soon he had an enormous line of 20 trucks. What's Diesel doing? Cried Percy.
So Diesel backs down onto the trucks, not knowing the shunters had the brakes set on the trucks.
Diesel didn't know the shunters had set the brakes on the trucks. The troublesome trucks knew, but encouraged Diesel to push anyway.
I'm not too sure why the shunters had the brakes set, to be honest. That part in particular is a bit confusing. But the troublesome trucks are amazing in this scene. We gotta love the classic faces as well. They really brought out every face, every type of truck.
And he pushed. And he pushed. But the trucks didn't move.
I love these scenes of Diesel trying to push and pull the trucks. Michael Angelis is fantastic in this episode.
So Diesel decided to pull the trucks instead.
Something random, but I always thought this noise sounded like a rattlesnake as a kid.
And he pushed.
I love the sounds of the docks in the background, knowing Brendam Docks is hard at work, while Diesel is over here messing around with 20 trucks.
Heave ho, you can pull, but we won't go, sang the trucks. This made Diesel very cross.
Also, Michael Angelis going full try-hard is always such a splendid thing. As Diesel continues to fail, you just feel that it's building up to something, especially as the music changes.
So Diesel decided to pull the trucks instead.
Man, I fucking love this. The coupling breaks, and well, we all know what happens next.
And he pulled. Help!
From here on out is all about Henry. Not only does the Fat Controller look down on Diesel, Henry does as well, which is fucking beautiful storytelling. What Diesel stands for and represents will never take over the island of Sodor.
Grease and oil, Diesel sulked as the trucks laughed and laughed.
I love how Diesel has zero emotion too, to the Fat Controller calling him a failure.
The Fat Controller looked down crossly at Diesel. I thought you would be a proper dockyard Diesel, but I was wrong, he said.
We love the actual Henry.
Can you make up for lost time, Henry? Oh, yes, sir, Henry replied happily.
Henry backs down onto the 20 trucks and pulls away easily, not saying a word, because he doesn't need to. He lets his strength do the talking.
He backed up to the trucks and the shunters released the brakes.
Seeing how bad the CGI series was, and also of how they butchered Henry over and over and over again, really makes me love moments like these even more.
Then Henry pulled away as easy as pie.
It's also funny how now the shunters release the brakes on the trucks, as if they were the ones messing with Diesel the entire time. That would be a fun theory to make. Just beautiful. Diesel is sent away once again, and the Troublesome Truck storyline comes to a close with Thomas's line here.
Even troublesome trucks can do you a favor sometimes, chuffed Thomas. Like getting rid of smelly old Diesel, puffed Percy.
And that's the episode. If you couldn't tell, I think it's amazing. A 10 out of 10 for sure. Not only that, Henry is handled beautifully in this episode. Seeing Henry done right in a later season such as this one makes me revisit this episode incredibly often. And the Troublesome Trucks get a nice storyline as well. Bringing back Diesel may seem silly at first, but the episode makes his return very exciting and entertaining. It shows us a deeper, real-life theme as well, but in this episode, the modernization of railways fails once again with Diesel's failure, and the strength of steam on the Sodor Railway, Henry, prevails. This episode has a lot to offer, way more than what meets the surface. I highly recommend rewatching this episode, especially if you are a big Henry fan.